Lawrence, this is exciting. We have finished, let's say completed. We've moved on from 2020. We've seen struggles through our community. We've seen struggles as a nation. We saw struggles down south. We saw our challenges within our own families and our network and our communication and our connection. In 2021, I welcome it. I'm excited for it. I feel at least we have a greater sense of hope. And I hope you feel the same way. I think I like the direction that we take with our squeaky wheel and our connection. But our lead-in is such a strong reminder of the people we're trying to engage within our community. Lawrence Gervais, the president, take us into some of the things that happened last year so we can help close that out. And then let's also lead into some of the positive things that are happening as we move forward into 2021.
Yeah, I mean, we've, down to, members of our Local 87, our President Joe Pimlott being involved, to, our veteran, our health director, Regan Bartel, who does a tremendous job with the Métis Nation of Alberta. In terms of our guests that you have, even having, non-Métis like Dr. Rajesh Singh on to talk about the vaccine. We did a lot for COVID, and then we also had comedians on. We've had artists like Laurie Cole on. It's just been an amazing year, and we look forward to the new year.
Yeah, and we can never look past. We're very lucky, right? We've had Audrey Poitras, the president of the M&A, who's come on to our show. So we've had Ward Sutherland. We have our city councilors. We have provincial representation. We have artists, whether as you point out, comedians or whether they're singers. We have veterans. We have the police. We've had wonderful Alan Chamberlain, who's come on to give us some direction. We've seen such positive engagement and support from the members that are within our citizenship, the community, as well as all of our listeners. I know going forward, we're going to hear some of those people again because Regan's message about health was so strong. And she's such an important factor. Same as Audrey, the opportunity to speak to her and that representation. I know, Lawrence, that we're trying to expound our little squeaky wheel here, and it sounds small as we get bigger in the region, bigger in the province, and we're starting to even have a lot of national conversation amongst people. So good on you, Lawrence. This is, you're leading us down this road.
I try to do as much as I can for the region, but also across the rest of Alberta, and hopefully we get to the rest of Canada at some point with some dialogue and some of our Métis in other provinces, and maybe some Métis in the States who are wanting to maybe come forward and be a part of this also. So very excited. And, my portfolio is all we all know is education, training, and research. And I love being a part of Rupert's Land Institute. And it was nice to have Lisa Cruikshank also in the discussion. And hopefully we get to Lauren Gladue and the CEO and talk there. But, we talk about the future of all that and working with institutions. And I think it's all great. I think what Squeaky Wheel is doing is not just the squeaky wheel that we're complaining about things. We're just more or less introducing things right now.
Actually, yeah. We'll
get
very
to
good
the
point.
complaining. Yeah, we'll get to the complaining much later. But
yeah. And Amy Willier from Moonstone Creation and Nicole Shepard, who we know is the strong leader in consultation for our region. We're lucky that these people are also. There's always a sense of humility when you get into a conversation, when you're in front of the camera. So good on these people for that strength and that they're willing to share that time. Because unlike you and I, which seem to have signed ourselves up to be a bit of the front, that frontline connection. Some people didn't necessarily sign up into their positions so that they could be on, being monitored and watched as we are. And not as many people signed up to be the president, that's for sure. So thank you again. How do we close out last year, Lawrence?
Well, I think closing out is, what we've accomplished. We've gotten to how many episodes? 20, 23, 24 now?
Oh, I think it's Is it 25 maybe?
Oh, we're
this might be 26.
now, wow.
I know we're close. We're right there somewhere.
Yeah. But I mean, we have, trying to do a weekly podcast and, trying to get as much information, as much dialogue out there and regional updates. And hopefully we do a good job of that and getting to our members, especially during COVID where we can't sit and meet and we can't have these annual meetings. And I think doing something like this is very, very important to our members, communication especially.
Oh, and I think I think that was where we saw that there was a bit of a gap, that communication. Yeah. And this isn't the venue for every single person out there, but I think this is a valuable one. Yeah.
I mean, and, there's certain things that we're going to be introducing to the Squeaky Wheel channel as sort of addendums and, Muskrat Tales to even these new panels that we're thinking about doing, sort of hot debates about Métis history. So we look forward with that. And Mitchif, of course, doing another channel for that too. So there's a lot of things that Squeaky Wheel is sort of incubating as a part of all this. And we're pretty excited about it.
Well, and Lisa Cruikshank as well, right? Having been on our program with her representation for Rupert's Land and the extension that we get when it comes to, their support for our youth, as well as virtually any age now, if they want to pursue more schooling or advanced educational opportunities. So let's talk a little bit about as we move forward. I mean, we both know the start of this time right now, things are falling apart down in the U.S. We're doing a difficult job as citizens, both Métis citizens, as Albertans, as Calgarians. Boy, what do you think, Lawrence? And I don't want to incite too much stress amongst all of our citizens to bring it forward, but a lot of politicians making challenging decisions about deciding to leave during the most difficult time for all Canadians.
Yeah, I mean, it's really too bad that people are attacking the democracy they have down there. And, we protect ours up here as best we can too. And it's just really unfortunate that that's happening for them. But, once they get over this hump of, January 20th, when the new president comes in, then hopefully there's an ease of transfer and it might take a little bit while for them to realize that their democracy wasn't the problem.
Yeah. Right? I think too, we have to respect the process. The election is happening. I think their government needs to work at not inciting, but I also was curious because unfairly to you, I led into two conversations there. One, just what's happening down in the US right now, but also then I also threw in our more local politicians and provincial politicians who decided to go to Hawaii or Mexico or leave. So I apologize. I kind of threw that all in there as one statement, but the media, Lawrence, is really, really stepping in on the decisions that were made by these politicians. Elected or not, Lawrence, I think you do a pretty good job of realizing that we scrutinize you. You're leading our membership. It's an important elected role. And, thank you for your Christmas and your end of last year to the new year that you sent out to our members. Those are the things that helped us connect with you, Lawrence. Going to Hawaii sounds like for Tracy Allard is not something that's connecting her with her community.
It is what it is. If you're there putting your foot forward and setting up the rules, and you kind of have to adhere to them too a little bit. So it's just it's more of the accountability thing. It's not the and that's where it all is. It's just accountability and holding a politician to that. Yeah,
good point. It's not necessarily illegal. People weren't doing things that were illegal. I think we see it as a not putting the best foot forward.
Well, I mean, there's no laws that's really state COVID-19 currently anyways, right? So they're not breaking laws. Yeah. It's just they're making the rules and they're not abiding by those same rules that they're making, right? So,
Yeah. It seems as though, and folks, thank you again to our listeners, to our subscribers. very important that you continue to click that little red button that says subscribe on YouTube. Continue to email us. Continue to make your comments on each of our pages. It incites conversation. Our job is to make sure that we bring guests on to share and allow them to share their message, because a lot of people have worked very hard at their career, at their craft, at their level of experience, and are sharing that with us. So thank you, Lawrence. I know I think we're doing a great job of getting those guests on.
Yeah.
What do you want to see as we move forward? Because we're going to continue to have this type of connection for a while. It's going to be virtual. We're not seemingly getting together right away, but I like our approach, and I think it's important.
And I think for me, personally, and as a Métis Nation member, and I'm sure it's amongst everybody else's, where's the Métis Nation headed, and how do we do it virtually, and how do we talk about self-government over this next year? I think that's a big discussion we'll have with Audrey, and we'll probably have her on again, really start talking about it. But how do we connect to our members in the best way possible for them to provide their input on how this new self-government will probably lay?
Yeah. And I think I also need to throw some shout outs to, for example, Mr. Kevin Ripa, who came on to talk about the security. Again, I reflect on our last year, and as we move forward into the next year, some of the things that are being brought forward. For example, Matt Hilterman, who we brought on our show, and who has a much more engaged role as providing a historical reference for our Métis community. There are messages that are new that we need to share, as well as there are messages such as we need to reclaim with Matt Hilterman.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it sparks interest in our artists, because that's number one. They're the ones that are there who have the ability to tell our story. And I think that needs to be sort of mapped out in that connection to history, connection to our elders, connection to the stories, and start telling them, start producing TV series and movies and all that fantastic stuff, and books, things of that nature, and start doing it. I think that's what we want to encourage our younger or older Métis artists to start doing.
Yeah, and a thank you to, for example, also, that's very important that we are working to, and we bring this up a lot, reconnect our youth and our age with our elders as we slowly transition into that role, right? Doreen Burgum, who has a strong representative role as an elder at so many different levels, and invited to so many different education, city, municipal, regional opportunities to provide a prayer or a positive message from the Métis community. We're doing a good job, Lawrence.
Yeah, exactly. She is a member of the Elder Council. She is recognized by the locals and us to be the representative for the region, and we support her as much as we can whenever she requests us to do that. But she is involved in a lot of areas, and we give her that support too. And she also is looking for elders that she can kind of help ease the caseload a bit, you would say. And I know that we have a few on our minds to help assist her, so we're looking forward to that.
Not to bring up another tough subject, Canada's loss to the Americans. Maybe that's what they're rioting about in DC. Maybe it's not about the 50-50 split between Republicans and Democrats. Maybe they're happy and excited, and that's the reason they're storming their Capitol building. Seems unlikely, but
you know what? I like the American-Canadian rivalry, to be quite honest. Just like, you see the Finnish and the Swede, rivalry over there. Like, we need American and Canadian rivalry more in hockey. We can't just win all the games, right? And we need a clear-cut competition to and it makes our teams better. It makes our athletes better.
Yeah.
when you have clear competition in front of you.
I wonder if that's not what, I've talked to a number of people, and you hear it on the radio. It seems as though our young Canadian athletes, the juniors, didn't get challenged. It seems they didn't coast. I think they played very, very hard, but it didn't seem as though they went up against such an adversary. And when you are playing the Americans, it's already ramped up. It's already a challenge.
That's right. And even on our women's hockey too, I mean, it's the same thing. They have more of that rivalry inside them when it comes to playing the Americans. And I want to see our boys do the same, and we'll end up getting, back there, and we'll win probably the next tournament. But it's I just like to see a real healthy competition when we watch hockey.
And you're absolutely right. Our professional women's Canadian team, that rivalry is tried, tested, and true. They seem that unfortunately they don't get as much of a challenge from the Europeans as happens at the junior level and at the men's senior level. But kudos to those women, because I love watching that hockey. They are full on driven, passionate to win. And it's hard to graciously accept any loss. And oh boy, it does seem as though sometimes those ones are hard.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with COVID, the European teams did have a challenge getting here, and, it's trying to remain isolated. Germany didn't have a full squad, but, it's just the way it was, right, this year. And it was nice to see that game, to be quite honest. Even though Canada got beat, it was only 2-0, but, Canada could have bounced back at any point in time. But that's just the way the cookie crumbles, right?
Yeah. And they, and I know the Americans too, they had, I'm trying to think of her name, one of the coaches. Oh, I think it's Feaster. First female to ever serve on a coaching staff for U.S. national junior team. And she brought that team in and won. So, along with the other coaches on her team. So good on her. Be part of that coaching staff. It's a wonderful inroad into the game.
Yeah. And then maybe Métis Nation could put up a team. We know there's a Northern Métis Alberta team already.
Yeah.
That competes with Sean Mackay and Aaron Barner from head office, but maybe Region 3 can put a Southern Alberta hockey team.
Are you going to be
too.
an enforcer? Is that I'm a delicate skater, and as I heal my injury, I like to think of myself as a goal scorer, but right now I actually might be just better opening the doors on the bench.
No, we have, Métis members down here in the South that could probably, ex-NHLers that could probably.
I think there are a lot of them. I'm sure that if we wanted to put a team together, there'd be a lot that we could bring forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lawrence, I think as we move into 2021, folks, we're going to continue for the next while to struggle as we navigate down this COVID road. I think and our pandemic road, as we see the challenges that are being presented to all levels of government, all levels of representation, including yourself, Lawrence. There's challenging questions that are going to happen within all communities. But I think we're looking towards a positive light. I like that we continue to banter both in a way that I think brings a little bit of information, a little bit of attention, but I always enjoy it. And I always enjoy that. Sure, there's a few shots back and forth between you and I like that. Seems as though your guitar hangs there a lot more than mine, because I seem to play mine a lot more. But I'm very lucky to have this time in this conversation. We're lucky to have Jason, who continues to spearhead editing our program and making it better every time. We're going to see more. We're going to see more of this. We're going to see more for our youth. We're going to see more for elders. We're going to continue this conversation.
Yeah. And I hope for a music episode, all music episode, where we can have a little jam session.
That actually sounds fantastic. And another big thing too, folks, is we're continuing. If you are within within the business industry of Métis and you want to connect, we do Metis Mixers that are happening. Make sure you hit our website. our office is closed, but we're trying to work at continuing to establish more of the connection that we had before. And we're going to get back to it where we're getting together. But Metis Mixer was positive. Joe Pimlott has done a fantastic job of setting that up. And we try we try to make sure that it moves along so that people have a quick opportunity to talk, including myself. I attend it, try and promote the Memphis group and the satellite work we do. But I think we're doing more. We're reaching out to our elders. I think we're starting to get stronger. We're reconnecting with our youth through the mediums that they need. Folks, thank you for joining us here on the Squeaky Wheel. Lawrence, why don't you close us out?
Yep. Welcome to the new year, and pretty excited to see the new stuff that's happening. And we do have 2 professional roles here now. One's a digital media manager, which is Jason, and now we have a virtual meeting coordinator who is Joe Pimlott. So
yeah,
we're pretty excited to have those 2 roles here, especially for COVID, and looking forward to the new year.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Lawrence. Folks, make sure you please subscribe to us, continue to support us. And this is all of our journey through reconciliation. We're all trying to find a spot for the Métis community. We're trying to find a spot. Continue to support the Squeaky Wheel, and we're going to continue to support you. So folks, keep the wheel rolling, and we're going to hear from us soon.